What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Super Gamer Boys. I am your host and captain and dad, Garrett Morlang. And here in the virtual studio with me is... Oh, hang on. Okay.
Hang on, let me make my grand 8-bit entrance. Hold on, I got this.
Grand entrance, okay.
There it is.
Not yet.
Nice.
Not yet. We just got it. There he is.
All my 8-bit glory.
Here in the virtual studio with us is the king of video games and resident superstar, Adrian Holmes.
What's going on, fellas?
Welcome.
How we doing tonight?
We are doing good. I'm nice and cozy. And my new Super Gamer Boys crew neck sweater. And
Why, Garrett?
Repping the merch.
Wherever did you get that?
And my new Super Gamer Boys socks. Check it out.
Whoa.
Look at these bad boys.
Wow.
Hey, all you weird feet people out there, check this out. Yeah.
Why am I
Garrett's
hot
Wiki
right
feet.
now? That's turning. Wow.
Hey, and check
Boy,
out this
I wish
sweet
I
merch.
had... Whoa.
Hey.
Oh, there it is. There it
Updated.
is. There's my
Updated.
mug
Look at
on a
that.
mug.
This is the Super
Finally.
Gamer Boys mug.
I don't know
episode's
which
brought
one
to
is
you-
more 8-bit, the picture of Adrian on the photo or the one on the video right now.
The one on the mug of the video.
Look, if you call Xfinity for me and get this straightened out, I'll be eternally grateful, okay?
This episode is brought
Now-
to you by sgbstore.com. Get all of your SGB merch for Christmas this year, and you can look as dope as I do right now with my toasty warm socks and my nice cozy sweater and my cup of tea and my mug. Sorry, Adrian, I turned your entrance into a bit, but you know.
Hey, look, I'm all about it. Commit to the bit, all right? Everything for the bit.
Everything for
Absolutely.
the bit. Also joining us here in the studio is the one and only JJ Purdom.
Thank you, guys. And I'm so sorry that my nose is like leaking. It's like 20
We
degrees
told you to cut
in
that
Nebraska.
stuff out.
Yeah, I was wiping it on my shirt earlier, but it's like 20 degrees in Nebraska, and they said to me earlier today that they're having a bit of a hot snap during the winter over here in the Midwest. But I'll tell you what, guys, I'm freezing balls. Like, legitimately, one of them is stuck to my leg right now. And
Oh my
I'll
gosh.
let you guys guess which one is stuck to the leg. But it's cold.
That's a tough one. There's a 50-50 shot.
There you go. Garrett, you will be wrong, no matter which one you choose. I'm sorry.
Okay. Man. So
Fired up today. I like it.
We're fired up. We're ready to go. Let's get this freaking show on the road.
Yeah, he's already talking about his balls on the show. Like, wow, we're really
Like,
we're
man,
getting
we're
on it.
really going.
In fact, I am warmed up now. I don't think I need this jacket anymore. Let's
you
get
go.
into
Take
it,
it
man.
off.
Take
it
The big
off.
dog's in.
okay. Man, yeah, we were talking before the show, and I'm happy to announce that hopefully there's no more homeless bits on here, because as far as I've heard, I understand, JJ, you're on the track for getting a bigwig job, huh?
That's right. I am a thorough bull crapper, as we say in the business, bull crapping. And so I walked into a place recently here in town. I don't want to jinx myself. I also don't want any of you guys calling this store and telling them who I really am. You know what I mean? So I'd rather, like, let's play it cool, because I could be any character I want to be. And like, they believe me to be really good and like smart and all that. So I've got them full completely. It's amazing. But I basically am in line for an assistant manager job at a supply place over in my area. So it'll be like a 5-minute drive, and basically assistant managing a store. So I look forward to it. I think that they were really excited. The lady actually went through and called me the next day, having sneakily went and found my number in the system after I spoke with her about a job. And she's like, hey, I don't know if you were serious. I was kind of being sneaky. I went through the system to find your number. I wanted to call because you have a strong personality, and I thought you'd be perfect for this. And I'm like, ma'am, I do have a strong personality, and I think that I would be perfect for getting paid a lot of money as well. So
Nice.
she didn't
Yeah,
laugh.
gotta slip that in. Gotta
I
slip
think
that
it's
in
like
there.
a low-paying job. I don't really know for sure. But it's 5 minutes
It's more
from
than
home,
the
so-
zero you're getting right now.
Exactly. I was really, honestly, I was stacking up the soup cans right now, because I was pretty much sure I was going to be joining Garrett in the line any moment now. I was going to be right there in line with them, holding the bowl out. Please, sir, can I have some more?
Just rationing out that last can of Campbell's Chunky.
Exactly. And some of that, chunky stew, I don't have to do it now, Garrett. You're in the line alone, buddy, because I'm going to be employed soon.
Yeah, well, joke's on you. I got a job offer today too, so I don't want to jinx anything.
What was his name and how much did he offer you?
Oh my gosh.
What? What?
You're the worst.
It's a legitimate
Oh,
question.
I see what you're driving at. I
Yeah.
gotcha. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
You know what, Garrett? No shame, man. You got kids to feed, baby. There's no shame in it. You got to do what you got to do, man.
Okay. Well, anyways, yeah, I got a job offer today, and I'm super stoked. Maybe that's why I'm all fired up, because like you got a job offer, I got a job offer. Adrian's just always killing it over there. I don't know. Do you have any good news? Come on, Adrian, you gotta have some good news. Are you fired up today?
Good news.
Give us some good news.
Good news. What am I? Oh, I got good news. It's not about me, but Spider-Verse 2 is coming, baby, and we just got a new trailer for
Dude,
it.
I saw that trailer. That was killer. I was so
That's
hyped.
my good news.
So good.
It does look so awesome.
Man. Yeah, immediately I was like, oh shoot. Like I
I
love
dropped
how...
everything. I stopped it and watched it right where I was. There was no way
So
Yeah,
good.
I wasn't going to see it.
Can I just say one thing? It's probably controversial. I know we all love Into the Spider-Verse. I think Into the Spider-Verse better than the recent Spider-Man movies.
That's
I
not
like
controversial. That's a fact.
No,
I think so.
I agree.
I'm glad to hear that, because I really feel that way, and I've said that to a couple other people, and they don't agree. And I'm like, man, I feel like you're really missing the boat on Into the Spider-Verse.
You want to hear? You want to hear something even more controversial? I think it might be the best Spider-Man film that we've gotten.
Yeah,
I said
agree.
I didn't say animated.
Mhm.
I didn't say live action. I said film.
Yeah, I could agree. That's amazing.
I know
I
people
haven't
have their Raimi
seen-
nostalgia. I know. Don't
Yeah,
get me
I haven't-
wrong. And that's not to disparage any of the other movies that we've had. But just on the fact of how masterfully executed everything in the Spider-Verse is.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I agree.
For
I'm
me,
really
it puts
worried.
it leagues above everything else.
So worried right now that Garrett is going to screw up the good vibe that we're rocking right now and say something positive about Spider-Man 3 with Tobey Maguire. And I beg you, Garrett, keep your whore mouth shut. Don't you dare.
You do like the prequels too, though.
No, what I was gonna say is I want to agree with you. I think it is the best, but I also just haven't watched the old ones in a long time, like probably since they came out, pretty much. So definitively, I can't say yes, but initially, I do want to agree with you. I think Spider-Verse is the best, but I need to go back and watch the Raimi ones, because at the time, I even really kind of enjoyed the Andrew Garfield ones. Again, at the time, like a lot of people were hating on them. I'm like, I don't think they're that bad. So I don't know.
The first one wasn't that bad. The second one is absolute garbage.
Yeah, so we should do like a watch through. That'd be fun. But
Of all of the Spider-Man movies?
all of them. Back to back to back to back.
Oh,
no. That would be horrible.
Have either of you guys ever been Spider-Man for Halloween?
I'm sure one year I've as a youngin, I've dressed up as a Spider-Man.
I wanted to go this
I'm-
year, but I didn't have the time to get the costume together, so I went as janky Iron Man.
I'm
I
jealous
went-
that kids get to go as Miles nowadays.
Yeah.
I didn't have a Miles option. It was just Peter Parker, and that was it.
Yeah. I went as Spider-Man. My mom made a homemade costume in the early 80s. I've got a photo that I will try to share to our social media soon. I'll find it and share it to social media. Homemade Spider-Man costume from like 83, 84. And it's pretty cheesy. Yeah, it's basically underwear
That's awesome.
that are on the outside of the pants. So, no.
Hey, you got to do what you had to do.
Hey, it was
Whatever,
80s,
yeah.
man.
Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. Ah, man. Cool. Well, today we're going to be talking about PlayStation's new Game Pass competitor, Metroid Dread developers' next project, and the Game Awards thoughts on Activision. But first, let's give a quick shout out to our Patreon producers, Toby Dalton, Quote Joma, and a brand spanking new producer,
What?
Bleep Bloop.
Ah, yeah!
Oh, nice! Sweet!
Welcome to the family, Bleep Bloop. Thank you so much.
Bleep
So
bloop.
we have brand new
Our
Patreon
brother from
producer.
another mother. Right on, man.
Welcome, brother.
Yeah, and shout out to our Super Gamer sponsors, Julie Bates and Mama Mare. So thank you all so much for supporting us. each and every month. We appreciate it. Remember, you can support us over at patreon.com/supergamerboys, starting at just $1 a month, all the way up to our Patreon producer tier, $15 a month. Gets you different perks, different shout outs, different, job titles. You can be our boss, now bleep bloop. We have a new boss. We got 3 bosses. This is getting a little crazy, but we'll see how it goes.
Last week, Garrett went from no bosses to like 3. That's amazing.
3 bosses. It's insane. But supporting us over at Patreon, you do get episodes early and ad free, such as this show. Immediately after this show, pretty close as quickly as I can, I edit and put it up without the ads. And for all of you Patreon supporters, so right away you can listen to this week's episode. Also, Super Gamer Book Club, you get 2 months early. So also, I want to publicly apologize here, live on air and on YouTube and podcast services around the globe. Last week I said, hey, the first Friday of every month is when the episodes come out. Next Friday it's coming out. And I realized it was Saturday. I'm like, oh, I never put out a post saying like, hey, we're delayed, we're going to be late. And then want to know what I proceeded to do next? My kid ran across the room, tripped and fell, hit their head on a table, and I got distracted and still didn't put out a post because I was going to do it right then. I'm like, I should do it right now. And then like my kid got hurt and I was like, oh, so
check to see if my kid is possibly concussed. Put out a tweet about the episode. This is a tough decision I have to make here.
Yeah.
Tough decisions here at Super Gamer Boys HQ. But you know what? I think I made the right one. I at least drafted the tweet. So, no, just kidding. I went and checked the kid. He was fine. Sorry for everyone who was expecting episodes on Friday. I apologize they did not go out, but they are going out this week because we're recording this Wednesday. We are recording Wednesday. That was the other funny thing. I had the dates totally wrong last week. I think I told you, Adrian, like, yep, it's Tuesday. Tomorrow we're recording. And then we messaged our guest and he's like, it was supposed to be Wednesday. And he's like, and also like, it ended up being, something where a couple, like I wasn't really ready. The guest had something come up, all this stuff. So it's like, let's push it to next week. So this Wednesday at like 7:30, we're going to be recording. It's not going to be live. You guys won't be able to watch it, but expect it this Friday. You will get our Super Mario.
For sure this time.
Super Mario Odyssey talk with Pocket. And right now you can go over and get Cadence of Hyrule with Trouser Schnauzer. Again, if you support us on Patreon, as well as all previous episodes and even season 1 with Zech Keenan at the helm. But we'll talk more about our Patreon later in the show.
Adrian, real quick, in defense of Garrett, I want you to be fully aware that when you don't have a job, every day is kind of like mixed up and they're all Fridays. So I think that's kind of what might have been
100%.
happening there. Why you're getting confused. You're like, what day is it? You have no idea how often I say, what day is it to the general household? And like sometimes, and like, honestly, my son is like, I have no idea, Dad. I'm playing Fortnite. It's like every day is the same.
I woke up.
So, yeah.
It was night last time and now it's daytime. That's all I know.
We literally judge it by when did we go to church? It was like, I think church was like 3 days ago.
It's been
church was like
days.
Church was like 4 sleeps ago.
Monday, Tuesday, and like that's literally how we count. And like that's all of us.
Oh man, that's fantastic. No, 100%. Since when I initially lost my job, you're 100% right. It feels like a Friday every single day. But I mean, for me, like I felt like I was working more without a job than when I had the job. Probably because though, like I was working hard to get a job where my previous job was just like such a weird setup where like they weren't giving me things to do. So I was trying to, I was just kind of laying low and kind of hanging out until they promoted me, which didn't happen. So yeah, it was very strange. We're like, I've been working so hard. Like I played like 10 minutes of video games this last week. Like I've played 0 games. Like,
you
nothing.
What? Don't let Zech hear that.
Yeah, I know. He's hot
pouring
on my
on
heels.
the thunder right now.
He's hot on my heels with the backlog challenge.
He pulled Mortal Kombat 10 out the bag. Like what? What?
Yeah.
What the heck?
So I'm having dinner with Zech again this next week. He's coming to Lincoln about a half hour away from me. So we're going to get together and have dinner. And I'm excited to see Zech again. But I know for a fact that he's only having dinner with me so he can pump me for like, so what do you know? How far along is Garrett? Like, where are we at?
He's talking smack.
Yeah, that dude is the most competitive man I've ever met in my life as far as those video games are concerned. So,
yeah.
You got to be careful, JJ. You keep going over to that Spirit World border, he's going to trap you over there, and we can't get you back.
No,
that's true.
Lost forever. Just like in Coco, you'll just turn into one of them.
Yep.
All right, I think it's time for us to check the mailbag.
Go ahead and check it, Garrett. It's still there. You don't have that job yet.
Okay. All right. Let me it came in a very fancy portfolio this week. So let me see here. All right. Let's read this first one here. First question comes from Sweats, and he asked, what's the worst video game line you've ever heard? And the best. For example, worst line I can remember is the classic, took the arrow to the knee. My favorite line
That's a worst line? That's an iconic line.
He thinks it's the worst line. My favorite line is basically anything from BioShock. Andrew Ryan is full of psychotic Ayn Rand crap, but it sounds good. So what is your worst, in your opinion, the worst and best video game line you've heard?
So the worst will probably be just because of how corny they are. But in the any of the street games, so like NBA Street, NFL Street, FIFA Street, when you get a game breaker and the guys are like, they do that little cutscene where they're powering up and there's like, I'm coming, here I come, or something like that. Those are all corny. I hate love them all just because I have so many memories of that. One of the best lines that I never hear anybody talk about, and this would have been good for Eddie before he stabbed me in the back, was from Star Fox 64 at the end, when you just beat Andros and Fox is just sitting there in the R-Wing, and I can't remember if it was Peppy or Slippy that asked him. He says, hey, what's going on, Fox? You just beat Andros. You know, that's the emotion that it's conveying. What's wrong? And all Fox says is that nothing's wrong, because he's thinking about his dad and how he finally got closure in that last section, that last segment with Andros, and he's lived up to the expectations and of what his father knew that he could be. And that's just it's all encompassed in that one line, and it's so well done.
That's awesome. Nothing's wrong.
So for me, I am a huge fan of Bruce Campbell and the Evil Dead movies. Evil Dead, all of the Evil Dead stuff is fantastic. I don't know if you guys ever saw it. There's a lot of really great games that came out on the PS2, including Evil Dead. I think Ash versus the Evil Dead in the Fistful of Boomstick is one of the games on PS2, and one of the lines is Bruce Campbell does the voice stuff for Ash in the show, and one of the lines is one of the demons say, "I'll swallow your soul," and he like puts the double pump in their mouth and says, "Swallow this," and like blows and it's just like so cheesy and like blows their head off with it. But I love that kind of stuff. Like that's the stuff that I live for. But yeah, it's really bad. It's horrible. But I can't get enough of it. I want more cheesy lines like that.
That's fantastic. What about, so is that your best and worst? Or
that's the best and the worst. Yeah, because it's stuff like that is just like this cheesy, like, you know, I'll swallow your soul, swallow this, you know, or like another one is, you know, oh, you say such sweet words, and he's like, let's just pillow talk, baby. You know, like, and it's like, that's so great.
So good.
That's so great.
So good. Okay, you guys are going to be like, really? But of course, my quotes are from Metal Gear. So the worst quote has got to be, and I totally forgot about this, except I've been watching Kind of Funny's playthrough of the Metal Gear series, and they're going through 4 right now.
The best one.
I did not realize, I did not remember. It's been a long time since I played 4, and I only played it the one time, you know, where the older ones I've played a bajillion times. But I was like, man, this game really is pretty amazing. But there's a line. Otacon turns to Naomi, and he simply says, "Are you an otaku too?" He's trying to hit on her, and is like, gets super nerdy anime on her. And I was like, when I heard that, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. That has gotta be the cheesiest,
look, man,
worst
Sniper
line.
Wolf is gone, okay? He needs a new squeeze, all right?
Sniper Wolf's gone. He needs a new girl. Going for Naomi. Going. Oh my gosh. Are you an otaku too? Like, you got to be kidding me. What an idiot. Like, so stupid. But then the best quote is from the first one, Metal Gear Solid in Snake. I think this is also to Otacon as well. He said, this is Snake to Otacon now. And he turns and says, "A strong man doesn't need to read the future. He makes his own."
Whoa.
Dang. Oh no, it's to Meryl, and I think it's after the Psycho Mantis fight.
Okay.
It's in that section, which I mean, it makes sense with the context. But yeah, strong man doesn't need to read the future. He makes his own. It's like, dang, Snake. So good. So good. I love it. I mean, there's a bajillion quotes I could read, but
those Metal Gear games, man, they might have something to them. It might be something to them.
Might be something.
Maybe they should let that old Kojima guy make some more.
I might not be full of crap here on the podcast, guys. Everyone makes fun of me, but it's a good game. This one time. It's a good game, I swear. All right. Thank you so much for that question, Sweats. That was a fun one. Next question comes from Sir Prince-A-Lot, and he asked, "What's the most underrated television series that you adore?"
This is a tough one. Let me think.
Okay, so there's a science fiction show that I watched when I was in high school. It came out in like '95, and it had Jerry O'Connell in it. It's called Sliders, and Sliders was fantastic. It got John Rhys Davies in it as well, and oh man, it was so great. They basically Jerry O'Connell was a smart kid who created a sliding portal to be able to go to other dimensions. And he had like a remote control that he was able to open up these portals and like jump through to other dimensions of worlds that look slightly different. And he had coordinates on them to get back home. Well, he broke it. So it forced it to go to all these different places, and he had to try to land back at his own world. And there would be slight differences where he might go to one where Germany won World War II, and so Germany's taken over the whole United States, and it's all communist, and like everybody like hailing Hitler and whatever. And eventually it got moved from, I think, Fox to the Sci-Fi Channel, and so it ran like maybe 5 or 6 seasons. The last season, Jerry O'Connell bounced from it, and like they had like kind of a contrived way that it was Jerry O'Connell's character Quinn Mallory on the show, but he looked totally different, and it was like an alternate him from another reality that took over. It sucked. Nobody watched the last season, but that show was a lot of fun up until then, and it had such colorful characters, such awesome worlds that you got to go to and see, and nobody talks about it. Nobody like knows about it that I'm aware of, because I seem to be the only person that ever talked about it, and had like a lot of seasons.
I mean, it makes sense, that series must go by another name. It must be called Wolfenstein 2, because that's exactly what happens in Wolfenstein 2. Is that America is taken over by the Nazi regime, and BJ Blazkowicz has to fight to get America back.
This is just one. That's not the whole season. That's just one world.
Oh, okay.
That's just one world they go to. They go to all these different worlds. So every world they go to is kind of different. One might be a water world, and one might be like there's too many people, too much of a population. So people do this lottery where you win all this money for your family, but you have to get killed. To like take, so it's like, you might win $5 million, but then you get killed, so like one thing they put in for the lottery, and like they win it or whatever, and they're going to be killed. And they're like, but we got all this money. And it's like, yeah, but it's for your family or whatever. You're going to get killed. So, I mean, it's so many cool, like little things, like what happens if the world's just a little bit different, looks maybe a little bit the same or whatever, but it's totally different. It's really cool. Different alternate dimensions and stuff like that. So it might be on Sci-Fi Channel now. You might be able to catch that in reruns.
Let's take a look at it.
Nice. For me, I don't know. It might not be underrated. I just don't ever hear anyone talk about it in my kind of sphere of friends. So to me, it seems underrated because I talk to people about it, like, what? I've never tried that, never watched it, never checked it out. It's actually an Amazon Prime original. which is really funny that you're talking about like different timelines and dimensions and stuff. This is Man in the High Castle,
Oh, it's great.
which
That's a
is
great
about
show.
which it's just literally about exactly what you're just saying, where
Yeah.
we lost World War II and Nazis and
Right.
in Japan kind of split the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
Alternate kind of reality type thing, and it's like I absolutely adore that show. I think there's like 3 or 4 seasons.
A lot of
and-
people did this premise, huh?
Yeah, this is I see a recurring theme. That's a show that I literally like. I feel like I tell a bunch of people about, and they're like, "Oh man, I've never checked it out." And so if you've never watched it, go watch Man in the High Castle. And again, maybe you're all going to be like, "That's not underrated. Everyone loves that." I don't know. I've never heard anyone talk about it. Go check it out. It's really cool, and Amazon just makes. They surprise you. They surprise you, because I feel like some things you watch and you're like, yeah, it's fine, but that was like, oh man, the production value was like killer. The actors and actresses they picked were amazing. So go check that one out.
They had
What
an
about you,
awesome
Adrian?
sci-fi movie not that long ago that was like the top one on any streaming service, and I can't think of what it was, but it had
This is the one with
I
Chris
can't
Pratt.
think of his Chris Pratt. Yeah, that's the one
Mario.
I'm talking about.
Yeah, the one with
Yeah,
Mario. In
I
there,
can't I can't think of what the name of that movie is now off the top of my head, but it was really great. Really great.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but
They
I'm
also
sure.
went to an alternate universe.
man,
Oh man, an underrated TV show. So I don't know if you guys would know what this is, but I believe it was around 2000. Oh God, I want to say 2013 or 14. Cartoon Network had a show come out that was by one of the head writers of the original SpongeBob episodes, and it was called Chowder.
Oh yeah.
I love
And-
Chowder so
Mhm.
much.
Yes.
Yes.
And it was about this little rabbit dog creature kind of
Right,
deal
yeah.
that he studied under a chef. He wanted to be a chef. And so most of the series takes place in the chef's kitchen / restaurant where he makes the dishes, and he's teaching Chowder to be a chef. And all of the hijinks normally happens there. But that show
I love
was
it
just
so
it
much.
was so hilarious and creative, and the performances were so good, and I just don't understand how that show never took off, man. It's genius. It only got 3 seasons. I own all of them because they never put them out physically, so I had to buy them on digital. But that show is, they even have a joke about comedy gold in it. That show is comedy gold. It's so good.
That's a show
Ugh.
like when it came on the TV, like my parents would stop and watch it. Like they enjoyed it too. Like they would watch it with us. Man, I love Chowder.
I'm aware of it. I've just never seen it.
That 100% is underrated one, because I feel like a lot of people have either never seen it or they're just like, it was fine. Like I've met so many
Yeah,
people
it's
who are
like,
just
fine.
it's whatever. I'm like,
Fine?
are you kidding me? It's literally the most hilarious cartoon ever created. Like, are you kidding me right now? Oh man, so good. So good.
Yeah.
Man, I totally forgot about Chowder. That's a good one.
Yes. I watch it to this day, crying at some bits that they came up with, man.
So good. Man, is it streaming anywhere? I'm gonna-
HBO Max, because they have the rights to the Cartoon Network stuff. But honestly, just buy it on iTunes. It's worth it.
Okay. Well, that's what I'm doing later. Forget about editing the show. I'm gonna watch Chowder after this. You guys can wait for the episode till Wednesday. It'll be fine. All right. Next question comes from Quote Joman. He says, "What's a game that you enjoyed all the way through, but then hated the ending?" This is kind of
Ooh.
about. He says this is kind of about Transistor.
Kajoma, you better watch your butt, man, or you're going into Grinder.
Ooh. Okay.
That's a movie reference. If you get that, you got 100 cool points with me.
I just looked it up. It was the Tomorrow War, that Chris Pratt movie I was talking about. I'm sorry. I just wanted to make. I felt like
Okay,
it was going to kill me if I didn't say something.
Right, because Amazon was paying you to say that, right?
They are. Make sure to subscribe to Amazon Prime right now.
For me, it would have. So just
Take
to
your
pick
time.
one, from this year, because earlier I was kind of flipping through some games. There hasn't been too many of those, I don't think, throughout my years, but the most recent one I could think of was 12 minutes.
Really?
I actually really enjoyed the whole like figuring out everything in between, and it got repetitive and stuff, but like the slowly piecing things together with this mystery and this time loop over and over and over again, and like trying different things in the world to cause different events to happen, because again, you only had, well, technically only 10 minutes. You only had 10 minutes to make things happen, and and at the end of that 10 minutes, like the loop started over kind of thing. And it was, I really enjoyed that aspect of like, okay, what am I going to do this time? And those little tiny like details that you could so easily overlook if you didn't just literally try everything. Like that's my recommendation for that game. Literally try everything, click on everything. But and then it got to the end, and it's not that the ending was bad, I guess, or I don't know. It just was kind of, I don't know. It was just weird to me, I guess. And maybe I just didn't understand it, but I was just like, I don't know how I feel about this. Like, is this, yeah, I don't know. Like, because the kind of what's happening is kind of revealed to you before the ending, if that makes sense, right? Like, as you piece things together, you're kind of figuring out what's happening.
You'll be like, oh, okay, I see.
Right. So when you finally get to the ending, there's a little bit more information revealed, but for me, it was just kind of like, oh, well, all right, that's, interesting. All right. Like, I don't know. It was kind of blah. Like, I was hoping there'd be one more revelation that they were saving for the ending, not just kind of like oh, wait, this is kind of just exactly kind of what I thought was happening, based off of the gameplay. So, yeah, I don't know. 12 minutes for me.
Oh, I think Garrett froze up.
Oh, he was talking about my internet.
Man,
he was talking about my internet. And look who's gone.
Yep.
I don't want to hear it.
That's the thing. He doesn't have Xfinity like you. He doesn't have the sweet Spectrum Nebraska internet that I've got. He's rocking that crappy internet. I think he's
rocking that community internet. That's what he's rocking.
Can you guys hear me?
He's got the Wi-Fi at McDonald's right now. Let's be completely honest. Everything behind him is a green screen.
The McDonald's across the street.
You dang right, man. He's stealing McDonald's Wi-Fi. He's got the hotspot going on. That's bogus, man.
That is funny to me.
Can you guys hear me?
Man, just sweet,
as far as like
sweet just dessert.
As far as like an ending that I didn't like in a video game, there's a bunch of endings to Sonic 3. I only got one ending, and I was not very happy with it. It was Rosebud going to hell. So Rosebud gets like arrested, and then like at the end, she's like monologuing and ends up being behind like a red screen. It's thought to be that like Rosebud is in hell. So I didn't really care for that. So I don't know what other endings there were. I know there's supposed to be multiple of them, but that's one of those games that like, you play and it's like, it's kind of like not satisfactory. So I looked it up before. It's supposed to be like one of the true bad endings to the game.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I've been trying to rack my brain about what endings that I absolutely can't stand, and I don't come across too much.
Hey, Garrett, I want you to know that he was talking mad trash about your internet.
I could see and hear you guys the entire time.
Oh, good.
Oh, no.
That's what you get then.
You guys just couldn't see or hear me for some reason. And the stream could see it.
Yeah.
The stream actually continued. So the stream could hear me and see me. They could hear you guys and see me. It was very strange. It was only you guys who couldn't see and hear me. So,
okay.
Yeah. So anyways, sorry. I just lost my audition, my Audacity recording. So that's fine. It's all good.
Well, we're off the rails, baby.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Okay. So sorry about that. Adrian, it's
all good.
Did you have?
Yeah, I just answered. I was talking about Sonic 3.
Well, yeah, you were talking about Sonic 3, but I wasn't sure if Adrian had given one yet.
I am trying my best to think about all the endings to stuff, and there's nothing that I outright hated.
Yeah, if you don't have anything, that's fine. It's okay to not hate games. Games are cool. We should just.
I mean, no, don't get me wrong. Look, a lot of games suck overall, right?
Yeah.
But they suck because they suck about at everything, not just the ending. You know what I mean? So that's a tough one. That's
Right.
I don't think I got one for this one.
Not even Transistor like Kojima there?
That's my favorite, and
Oh boy.
I'm trying to think of a name for Kojima on this one, but
Well,
keep going. I'll think of something.
I would say Transjoma, but that has so many different meanings.
You
gotta
know
be
that
careful.
flew by, and I was like, I don't think that'll fly.
Different connotations.
back
being
off
what
of
it
that
is. Yeah, you
one.
gotta be careful. You don't want to offend.
Yeah. So
No,
don't worry, I'll have something.
So this next question comes from Bumple Smash, and they ask. Sorry, I assumed it was he. It's they. We don't know. Bumple Smash. They ask, what is your worst gamer rage moment? Mine were for sure those Super Mario Sunshine levels without FLUDD.
Oh, that's a good one.
Right off the bat, I'll just quick answer real quick. There's not much to elaborate on, but dude, Hades. There was times I was straight up ready to like punch a hole through a wall. I was like, no,
Really?
I should have had that. Like, why did I die there? Are you kidding me? Like, feeling like I was this close to getting something, and then like, nope, sorry, boom, dead, and all the way back to the beginning. There were so many times I was like ready to punch a hole through a wall due to Hades. So yeah, it would have to be that game.
I'm so sorry, when you started to talk right now, your voice did that thing that it sometimes does where you started to sound like the teacher from Charlie Brown. Wah, 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 wah. I wasn't listening to you, and you started to you got really boring for a second. Can you repeat that question one more time? I'm so sorry about that. And try not to be boring if you can. That'd be great.
What is your worst gamer rage moment? Mine was for sure the Super Mario Sunshine levels without FLUDD.
Oh, playing Karate Kid and breaking the Karate Kid was a really crappy game on the Nintendo Entertainment System, and this would have been like 87, and I had played it. We rented Karate Kid and rented it when we rented a Nintendo, and then later we bought the game when I bought a system, and I kind of had like fond memories of it. Then I played it. That game is so unbelievably hard and so stupid that I ended up getting really mad and breaking our secondary controller. I always said it was my brother's. Both of the controllers were ours, but I always said like the second controller was his. And I ended up throwing it on the ground and broke it. And we didn't have a second controller for a little while because we just didn't have money. And it was just over me being really mad that I kept losing over and over and over again. That game is frustrating. I don't know if you guys have ever played it before, but it's notoriously one of the hardest games throughout NES's life. It was just ridiculously tough to try to beat. I don't think I ever beat the game, and I don't think I ever beat any Nintendo games other than like Super Mario. And I beat Ninja Gaiden and stuff like that. I love that game.
How did you beat Ninja Gaiden but nothing else? Those games are notoriously hard.
I don't believe it.
Dude, Part one I did. I never played any other than part one. I played a lot. I beat a lot of games when I was younger, but Nintendo games were hard, man. They're like, games are so much easier now. You die and then you're like
checkpoint,
3 seconds.
Save point.
Dude, we didn't have that then. You died and then you had to go all the way back to the start of the game. You had to go all the way back to the start. You know, You die 3 times, you're done. You got to play for another 4 hours.
Did my video froze? Huh, man, I'm having bad luck.
It sure did. It sure did. Great internet, Garrett.
No, that's a camera issue. My camera keeps disconnecting, so I'll refresh that. Sorry about
that,
guys.
JJ, I'm gonna piggyback off of you for an NES game because it hit me like a lightning bolt. Mega Man 1.
Oh yeah, that's
the most infuriating game in the series. You want to talk about a difficult game? Mega Man 1 will make you tear your hair out.
Mm-hmm.
But within that game is a boss called the Yellow Devil. Oh my God, just thinking about it, I'm starting to get upset. It's a tank of a boss that shoots pieces of itself across the stage that you have to dodge. Mind you, if they hit you, they hit like a truck. And it reassembles itself on the other side of the stage. So while you're dodging all that, you have to shoot him, which takes off little chips, no matter what you use, beep, 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 off of his health. And he's shooting lasers at you at the same time as doing this. And you have to do it in one go. It's near impossible if you don't use that glitch. There's a glitch that you can do where if you pause the game and unpause it, when you shoot at them, it'll make all the damage go through like one at a time. But if you try to attempt that on your own, oh my God. That's the closest I've ever come to throwing a controller is the yellow devil. I won't. It sucks because he's hard in that one. He's hard in the PSP remaster, the Mega Man powered up. Anytime they bring the yellow devil back, it's just forget about it. I'm not doing it. Never again.
I'm done. Hanging up.
And it's in Smash Brothers too, and it's a pain in the butt there.
Coincidentally enough, people actually called Garrett in Papua New Guinea. They called him the White Devil. Just a coincidence.
Oh, that I can believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I can believe.
Garrett, come at me. Combat that. That's fact, and you know it.
You know what? You're just a big bully, JJ. You're a big bully.
What? I'm a pussycat. What are you talking about?
All right. I think that's good for questions. I actually had a couple more on the dock, but yeah, we're like 45 minutes in, so we'll save those questions for next week. All right. It's time for the nerdy nudes.
It's now time for the nerdy nudes.
Alrighty, everyone. This first news story is coming to us from IGN, written by Matt Kim. He says, PlayStation is reportedly working on an Xbox Game Pass competitor. PlayStation Now will be phased out in favor of this new service. Sony is working on a competing Xbox Game Pass service for PlayStation, according to a new report. Bloomberg says sources familiar with Sony's plans shared details of a new service codenamed Spartacus, where PlayStation owners can, and that's just like a code name, like that's, I doubt it's going to be called Spartacus, but
right,
that is pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. Owners can pay a monthly fee for access to a library of modern and classic games. This is the same model used for Xbox's popular Game Pass service. Documents on the project revealed 3 tiers for the upcoming service. I don't like that. That's a little. The first includes the same benefits as PlayStation Plus, which is required for online gaming and comes with some free games each month. A higher tier offers access to the gaming catalog like Game Pass, and a third tier will include extended demos, game streaming, and access to a larger library that includes PS1, PS2, PS3, and PSP games. Given that backward
I didn't hear that part.
Given that backward compatibility has been a popular request from PlayStation owners, using a new service to introduce older games to the library could be an enticing move. The new service is expected to launch in spring of 2022 and will merge Sony's 2 existing subscription services, PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now, a cloud service that lets users stream games directly to their console. According to Bloomberg, the PlayStation Plus name will remain, but PlayStation Now will be phased out as a brand. Despite beating competitors like Stadia to the market, PlayStation Now has failed to catch on as a core PlayStation subscription service, though the company has recently taken steps to add major releases like God of War and The Last of Us 2. That's actually where I played Last of Us Part 2 just recently when I beat it. I played it through PlayStation Now. It's plain to see why PlayStation wants to get in on a service similar to Game Pass. Xbox's subscription service has been a huge hit for the company and has over 18 million subscribers as of January 2021. Alongside access to library games, Xbox Game Pass also offers users day one access to first-party games like Forza Horizon 5 and Halo Infinite, which, by the way, comes out in 2 days.
That's right. I'm ready. I'm hearing good things.
Yes. So, yeah, that is the news. So it's getting rid of PlayStation Now, and then PlayStation Plus is going to have 3 different tiers. There's the regular tier that we all get now. There's the next tier up, which, what did it say? It gives you
the Game Pass style.
A smaller Game Pass, kind of like a limited library, and then the third tier gives you the full access library and demos and streaming and all sorts of stuff.
AKA PlayStation Plus expansion pack.
Yeah. So it's been talked about.
Oh no, I'm sorry. That's another company who's swindling people out of money. We're not talking about that right now.
It's been talked about. Xbox has been killing it this generation because they went a totally different direction, killing it with Game Pass. The value that you get with Game Pass is unlike anything else that's being done. And we kind of talked about in the beginning, like, man, Xbox just can't really compete with what PlayStation is doing. No, they're competing. And I think that PlayStation, in my opinion, is starting to feel Xbox breathing down their neck in this generation. The PS5 is, for all intents and purposes, a great console, but this is where they were lacking. The Game Pass model is an excellent idea. So I think that going and stealing that idea, this is an opportunity for PlayStation to just knock it out of the park. Now we have a real competition. Now there's a competition, because if they can bring what PlayStation has in their catalog, all of the PSP games and everything else in that big, you're looking at like what, $15 a month, maybe $15-$20 a month. It's worth it.
I mean,
it's
that's
probably worth it.
It's probably going to go like 5, 10, 15.
Yeah, 5, 10. I could see that 5, 10, 50. So like, yeah, drop it.
Drop regular PS Plus to
like $5 a month. Yeah, and then 10, 15.
Would that include, you think, the PS Plus collection that PS5 users
No.
have?
Yeah,
$5 would probably be just to play online, and then $10 would probably.
No.
You don't think so?
Because it does say that even with the base, whatever the cheapest option is, you're still going to get the free games each month, and I assume that would still. So
maybe we're talking 10, 15, 20 then.
Maybe.
I think you go 20. It's a little much. I think 20 is a little much.
But PS Now was $20.
Yeah, but I don't.
So if you're gonna give me a new service that's comparable or bigger than PS Now, and PS Now was already $20.
It was $10 a month.
What was $20? Oh no, it used to be $20. They halved it. That's right.
They dropped it last year. Yeah,
that's right.
You play PS Now a lot, right? I mean, what do you think? I'm talking about Garrett. Garrett, what do you think about PS Now? I'm sorry, PS Now as a whole, up until now in 2021. What have you thought? You've had Game Pass. You've played Game Pass this year. What's your impressions of what PS Now has been up until this point?
So PlayStation Now, for me, is basically just what I play all my PS2 and PS3 games on. Like that's what I use it for, and the occasional PS4 game, like Last of Us Part 2, but that happens rarely. Like most of my time, and actually Red Dead Redemption 2 was on there, but I think it recently got taken off, which was a bummer because I was hoping to start playing through it again, and then they just took it off.
Sure, you were.
Yeah, right. We've heard that BS before.
I had it installed on the console; it was on there. Now it's a little padlock won't let me in, you know. But yeah. So up until now, as far like technology wise, it actually works really freaking good. Like I was always shocked because I could play it on Trudy's iPad up at the house. I could just sync my DualSense or my DualShock to the iPad and play on there. I could play it on my laptop. I can play it here on the PlayStation. Streaming was no issue at all. The technology was there. But as far as content, it was any new content cycled in and out every few months. And so where like Game Pass, a lot of the newer stuff, like once it's there, it stays. Older stuff they'll get rid of on Game Pass, but usually for the most part, newer releases and especially first party stuff, they'll just keep on there all the time.
Yeah.
And so that was the only downfall with PlayStation. But again, like I was saying, like I literally use it to play PS2 and PS3 games. Because not PS2, I guess they didn't have PS2 on there, but PS3 games.
They had some.
You're right. They did have a couple PS2 games. But yeah, like that's how I played when now that I'm, what was it, a few weeks ago when I started Metal Gear Solid 2 playthrough. I was using the HD collection on PlayStation Now, streaming. I was streaming a game to my PlayStation and then streaming it out on our stream. It was crazy. Like the technology is insane. That's how I can play. I don't know. They have original Red Dead on there. I was messing around with that one time. Old Mortal Kombat, literally anything you can think of. Like they have a huge catalog with, like I think what did they say, like over 800 games on there or something like that. Mm-hmm. But it really is a lot of random stuff. So with that to say, I hope this new service is not only a little more like rigid of a catalog where it's like, okay, no, yeah, we're going to have all of our first party exclusives on there kind of all the time, just like Xbox does. And if it's a little more curated where it's not just a bunch of random stuff, it's like, here's like some good stuff, good classics, good backwards compatibility for everything. Like not just PS3, but give me PS2 and especially give me PS1. Even though
that's what I was saying earlier before we started the show when you were running down through the stories we were talking about today. I said, if PlayStation is serious about this and they really want to give a good like knockout blow to Game Pass, that's all they have to really do and say, hey, we've got all of the Sony published or Sony developed, every single PS1, 2, 3, 4 is going to be a little bit more difficult, but they could do it. But if you have all those entire libraries on there at that like super top tier, are you kidding? Are you kidding? You know how that's going to be a force to be reckoned with. If you're telling me it probably won't happen because, as we know, Jim Ryan hates old games. Yeah. But if they were to do that and say, hey, we have the entire Sony back catalog, so that's every game that didn't need a peripheral, forget about it.
Yeah.
And don't let them find a way to take the PS2 games and put them back online. Oh boy. People who wanted to play SOCOM playing SOCOM again, forget about it. Forget about it.
That would be amazing.
Forget about it.
Bringing SOCOM back.
In that article, do they say anything at all? One of the things that Xbox is doing really great this time around is all of the day one big games, like Infinite coming in a couple of days. Are they going to be doing any of those big AAA games like day one on this new service?
It doesn't. So again, these are all kind of like leaked hush hush documents. Like some people are kind of like not necessarily rumors. Like it seems all but confirmed basically, but yeah, from what people have seen and heard, they have not said that straight up that would happen. But I imagine if they plan on actually competing with Game Pass, they have to offer that, because that's another big thing with Game Pass is being able to play freaking Halo Infinite when it comes out in a couple days and not have to pay $60 for it. For just the campaign. Like it's like I feel like it's a no-brainer that has to be included. If they don't do that at that point, like what I mean, other than just as a way,
it won't work out.
Yeah, as a way back machine, which I'll definitely pay for because I love all the retro games.
Mm-hmm. You will, but the majority of people
will not.
Right,
like they're gonna be so bummed.
That's
out.
just that's $20 on top of the no, not even 60, the 70 that I have to pay for first party games nowadays.
Right.
Yeah.
And especially if you're already a massive gamer and you're already doing Game Pass, you're getting everything you want. You're getting all those day one. You're not going to pay for the PlayStation service if it's not doing the same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge value that Xbox is doing with their systems right now.
It's also a huge gamble for Sony because they really have to do it. They have to hit all the marks from jump. Otherwise, everybody's going to say, well, this is pretty good, but it's not Game Pass, and cancel it.
Yeah. Yeah, if they like that they could lose so much money if say they do offer everything, but if they don't do it just right, then boy, they're I don't think it's obviously not gonna sink Sony, but it's gonna hurt real bad, and they're gonna be real gun shy for a long time in the future. And I could see us like them getting even more conservative with their features in the future, which is which is crappy because like they're already so like tight knit and like strapped down with like the features they offer and the games they put out and stuff like that, and for that to be even more so if they screw that up, like, oh man, that'd be a bummer.
I still love Sony. I still love a lot of the games that Sony ends up putting out, a lot of those those first party games that they end up putting out, the big AAA games. I would be really concerned if this was Google doing this, and I'd be like, that failed. They're going to like fail in like 3 months. They're going to give up.
Well, I mean, we have proof of that. That happened. That actually happened.
Dude, yeah, no doubt. But I think that Sony might be able to do some good stuff. And I hope that they do, because I think competition breeds ingenuity. And when you have really good competition, it's going to force you to keep thinking outside of the box and creating new, creating better, and keep coming to the table with new and better stuff. And ultimately, who wins? We, the gamers, win.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I'm excited. And as early as spring of 2022, like in just a few months, we could be seeing at least an announcement of this. So I'm stoked. Like,
I would be excited about that date if there was some indication of how long that they had been working on this. You know what I mean? I don't want this to be we were only working on this for 6 months type of deal.
No, I imagine it's been longer, because it was at least a year ago, if not longer, that we did the news story about them working with Microsoft using Azure Cloud
services, but
the Azure Cloud services.
Streaming, yeah.
So I imagine this service is going to be very closely tied with those.
So does that mean that
So basically, it's running on the same software as Game Pass is too, which is kind of crazy.
Right, that's what I was gonna say. Is Microsoft is honestly like, okay, make a competitor. We still win.
Do it.
You
Yeah.
still have to pay us.
Yeah.
You go ahead and you put all the exclusives on there you want. Get everybody to sign up for it, please. Because now you're just gonna have to pay us more and more and more, you dummies.
Use as many teraflops of data as you want to use.
Please.
You know.
Tell them all to stream in 4K.
Yeah. Man. But yeah, hopefully we hear more soon. I'm stoked about that. But this next news story, I know Adrian's stoked about this one. Metroid Dread developer now working on a dark fantasy RPG. This story
sir.
Yeah, this story comes from IGN. Jared Moore writes over there. Metroid Dread developer Mercury Steam is currently working on a third-person action RPG that will be set in a dark fantasy world and has partnered with Control publisher 505 Games to make it.
Boo.
Yeah, was that a boo or an ooh?
That was a boo.
Oh,
Not for
okay.
Remedy, for 505.
Okay.
I thought it was for
I
Control.
don't think everybody has remembered. No, I don't. I guess everybody forgot that 505 made everybody rebuy Control to get the next gen update.
Oh, yeah.
Did we forget about that?
No, yeah.
Did we forget about that?
But they also just gave it away for free on PlayStation Plus. So.
Yeah, I got it on PS Plus free.
Yeah, how long later though?
And
Like
it's
a
on-
year
and
and
it's
a
on-
half
it was
later.
And it's
year.
on. No, because it came out in the fall, and I think it was like January, February of this year. I think it came out. So it was only a couple months.
No, it was
I
longer
think it was
than
more
that.
than that, Garrett. I think it was more
I
closer
don't
to a
know.
year.
And,
It was-
and the ultimate version's on Game Pass as well. So I feel like
Now, yeah,
Now it
but
is,
that was
yeah.
a year after they already said, "Oh nope, we're not going to do it. You're going to have to buy it." That was
maybe.
BS.
Anyway, they are partnered with 505 Games.
All
to
right,
make it.
whatever, Keely.
Whatever,
Go ahead and
whatever.
cape for the industry. Go ahead.
505's parent company Digital Bros released a press release announcing that Mercury Steam's next game is codenamed Project Iron, a third-person action RPG set for release on PC and consoles. While the company hasn't commented on a potential release window for the game, it does note that the project's initial investment amounts to 27 million euros, or around $30 million. Elsewhere in the announcement, it is stated that Project Iron's IP is co-owned by Mercury Steam and Digital Bros. While very few details have emerged about the project so far, it looks like it should be in safe hands given Mercury Steam's wealth of experience. Prior to developing Metroid Dread, the company also worked on titles such as Metroid Samus Returns and Castlevania Lords of Shadow. We are thrilled to work with the team at Mercury Steam, a proven studio that over the years has created numerous phenomenal IPs, including the recent hit release Metroid Dread in partnership with Nintendo, explained co-CEOs of Digital Bros, Group Rafi and Rami Galante. With Mercury Steam's creative vision and talent and 505's game's extensive experience, gamers can expect a high-quality, captivating, and engaging video game. So, yeah, they're working on a new game, and it's a brand new IP. It's crazy.
Now, maybe I didn't hear. Is this IP also Nintendo exclusive? Because if I reckon Mercury Steam is a second party, aren't they?
So
No?
it says here that they're planning to release on PC and consoles. So sounds like everything. It's coming to everything. So it's not just Nintendo.
That's interesting. I could have swore Mercury Steam was second party, but I guess,
So that
maybe I was thinking of somebody else.
I'm kind of curious what some of their other games are. So they've done American McGee Presents Scrapland, a 2004 game.
No idea what that is, one.
They came out 2007, Clive Barker's Jericho.
I've heard of Jericho. I've heard that it was pretty good.
2010, they had Castlevania Lords of Shadow.
Okay. All right.
2014, they had Lords of Shadow 2, Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2.
Okay.
And then Metroid Samus Returns in 2017. In 2017, they also
Banger.
had Raiders of the Broken Planet, Space Lords. It's an online
Never heard of
free-to-play
that one.
action-adventure game. Metroid Dread, and then Project Iron now. So they have made stuff for other consoles. So like that Scrapland was Xbox and PC. Jericho and Lords of Shadow was PS3, 360. So it's not their first time kind of deviating from Nintendo, for sure.
Okay. I mean, just based on what I've experienced from Mercury Steam, I'm pretty much down for whatever they're going to do. So if you're telling me that they're taking this tech and this engine and whatever they, have done and they're making a dark fantasy game based off of it, I'm in. Say no more.
Right. Yeah, dark fantasy RPG. So I wonder if it's going to be more like a Final Fantasy then? Is that actually what? Because it says third-person action RPG. Like I could almost see it being like a like turn-based, or is it? Do you think it's? Because are they a Japanese studio? I guess in my head I was thinking that because
no, they're in Spain, I think.
Yeah, they're Spanish. Yeah, they're from Spain.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so it might be just like a standard, just third-person RPG.
Who knows? There's so many ways that you can do an RPG these days.
Really
it could be anything.
Could be anything, but
I mean, Zelda's technically an RPG, so
yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. I'm stoked for it. Mercury Steam was not really on my radar until Metroid Dread. Like even reading this list, like I've heard of some of these games like Jericho, Samus Returns, stuff like that.
I was gonna say Samus Returns. You never had a 3DS though. Okay,
yeah, never played it. So I'm really excited because again, my only experience is Dread, but it has a killer game. So I'm really excited to see like, okay, yeah, if you've made some cool stuff in the past, looking forward to making some cool stuff here in the future. Let's do it. Let's see what you got.
Yeah. They're 2 for 2 for me. So anything they want to do, I'm down.
Yeah. I love the fact that you said it was new IP. So I want to see some new blood, man. Let's get some different stuff going. Like there's nothing new under the sun anymore. So whenever you can say like, hey, it's totally new, I love it.
Like with our question of the show earlier when we were talking about all the TV shows that are basically the same. Yeah, 100%.
You get a good concept, you just kind of go with it. You know?
Yeah.
Keep changing.
What if they were taken over by this country instead of this country?
I'm excited for this. It'll be cool. I don't think there's any sort of indication though about how soon it might come out. But I mean,
it's fine. Take your time.
Yeah, if they just finish up Dread probably in the last year or so, I could see this easily taking another couple year, 2-3 years at least. So that's fine.
If you need even more than that, take your time. If however long, I don't think they said how long the development cycle was for Dread, did they?
Not in this article. That would be interesting to know though.
But however long you need, take it because I want another game of that caliber.
Yes.
So take your time. We'll be here. I'll probably still be playing old PSP games that I haven't got a chance to get around to. So you're perfectly fine.
Oh man! All right.
Speaking of which, can we double back real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
That new PS Plus stuff. I know you mentioned that there was PSP games in there. That could actually be a really big deal because this might be the first time if they can get with Square and get the rights to it that Crisis Core, Final Fantasy VII, would be on a device that's not a PSP, which is huge because we just came off of the Final Fantasy VII remake wave, and Crisis Core is basically explaining the end of Final Fantasy VII remake. Okay. So if there's a way that we can get that into the hands of everybody before the part 2 of the remake comes up, this would be the way to do it. That would be a really big, especially for the JRPG crowd, that would be a really big incentive to get that service.
Now, Adrian, is it big enough for you to contemplate getting that service and getting back on the Sony pony bandwagon?
The one thing that they would have to do, I'm telling you, is a complete backlog, like PS1 through 4. And I know they're not going to do it, so I'm safe.
I'm safe. For now.
Yeah.
They're not going to do it.
When they do it, you're going to see pictures on Instagram holding the PS5.
I'll tell you what. If they come out with the service and they say we have a complete backlog of PS1 through 3, I'll buy one that day. I'll buy one that if I can get it, of course. You know,
you heard it here,
bots
folks.
willing.
You heard
bots willing. I'll buy one that day. That's how confident I am that they're not going to do it.
Put it on the board, Kajoma. Oh man! All right. This is the last news story here. A little bit of a downer here at the end, but news is news. We got to talk about it. The Game Awards won't take sides on Activision Fallout to focus on reveals. Comes from Kotaku, written by Ethan Getch over there. As Jeff Keighley's annual Game Awards show enters its 8th year, it's actually going to be airing this Thursday, 5 p.m., which I know last week we talked about possibly doing a live react to it. I don't know if you guys are still on board. Maybe we should talk about that after the show.
Yeah.
But enters its 8th year, the creator and host told the Washington Post today that he's still thinking about how to navigate Activision Blizzard's involvement in the ceremony following the latest reports of sexual misconduct at the publisher. We want to support employees and developers, Keighley said in an interview about what to expect at the 2021 Game Awards, which takes place on December 9th. Keighley added he supported people coming forward with their stories, but he also didn't want to diminish developers' opportunities to spotlight their games, the Washington Post reported. We have to think very carefully about how to proceed here, he said in an interview. Despite being one of the most prominent figures in the video game industry, Keighley has so far refrained from calling out the reported years of abuse at one of the biggest gaming companies in the world. Keighley and the Game Awards did not respond to a request for comment. Activision Blizzard, which faces a lawsuit by California regulators alleging years of widespread sexual discrimination, harassment, and other forms of mistreatment, is one of a handful of companies on the Game Awards advisory board. In addition to Activision President Rob Kostich, the board also includes executives from Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony, and many of the other gaming industry's corporate giants. Executives from those console manufacturers in particular were some of the few voices who spoke out recently, albeit internally rather than publicly, following a bombshell investigation in the Wall Street Journal about misconduct at Activision that implicated its CEO, Bobby Kotick. While thousands of publisher employees called on Kotick to resign, Nintendo of America President Doug Bowser and PlayStation boss Jim Ryan and head of Xbox Phil Spencer each emailed their respective staffs to express their own disgust and concern over the allegations, though none announced any specific changes to their business relationships with Activision Blizzard. Let's see, there's more about the kind of what's going on over there, what we've already talked about. There is an update to the article here, though, about the Game Awards specifically. Keighley elaborated, this is an update from the 4th. Keighley elaborated on Activision Blizzard's involvement in this year's Game Awards in a Twitter thread posted late last night. The host confirmed that the publisher is not appearing outside of the categories its games are nominated for. Nominations and winners are voted on by the media, and added that there is no place for abuse, harassment, or predatory practices in any company or community. I also realize we have a big platform which can accelerate and inspire change. We are committed to that, but we all need to work together to build a better and more inclusive environment so everyone feels safe to build the world's best games. All of us are accountable to this standard. Incredible games and the talented developers who build them are who we want to celebrate. See you on Thursday. So his statements kind of, in summary, was they are not doing any Activision Blizzard announcements at the Game Awards. So that's almost like their punishment. Like they're still, what's his name is still on the advisory board, and they're still going to be, obviously they're still nominated for awards. So they're going to be talked about then. But Keighley put his foot down and said, you know what? We're not going to let them announce any DLC for Warzone now.
They're really teaching them, huh?
Yeah, really. You know, that's going to really hurt Call of Duty's numbers. I'm sure their pocketbook's going to be crying, you know, after that.
The real sad news to all of this is the fact that he's not a good dude. He did some really horrible crap, and all of the people
Bobby Kotick, you mean? Yeah,
Bobby Kotick, right? And
yeah.
all the people, well, Jeff Keighley too, but just saying. No, all the people that work at Activision that have been busting their butt and doing all this stuff, like, to not
just them though. Ubisoft, Riot
Absolutely.
Games, all the places that we don't know about that this stuff is happening at, which is absolutely going on.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
It's horrible, man. You know, it's horrible they're having to deal with that stuff, and they've been putting all this work and effort and energy into doing all these great things with these games, and then they're basically being pushed off to the side. They can't be recognized for that, because of some of the stuff that this one man made some choices to act out as a butthole, really, using his position to gratify himself.
Yeah,
it's horrible. It's horrible.
Yeah. Now, I definitely wish Keighley was taking I wish there was a stronger stance here from Keighley. Like, I wish.
I was gonna say, just say it out right. I wish he had a backbone. I wish he had a spine.
Because so here's the deal, and tweeted about this a little bit, and because there was someone who responded to us and was just like, well, like, what's the big deal? Like, we're there to celebrate games. Let's just focus on the games. It's like, right, but it's not consistent with Keighley, because you think back, what was it, 5-6 years ago when Kojima was getting, leaving Konami.
His best friend, by the way.
His best friend was leaving Konami on these bad terms and stuff. He made a ruckus about that at the Game Awards. He took sides on that one, And,
on his own, mind you. He was the only one up there. There was no segment. He just decided to throw that in there.
Yeah. And
unprovoked.
Now, like, there's this thing happening in the gaming industry, which is so much more, like, important. Like, who cares about Konami, like Kojima leaving Konami? Like,
that's his personal thing.
That's his personal thing. This is literally people being harassed, abused, all sorts of horrible things, threatened at their workplaces.
Death threats from their bosses.
And now he's like, oh, no. Here at the Game Awards, we don't take sides. It's like, well,
what are you talking
about? But I mean,
also,
you've done it for less. You've done it for less, Jeff.
I said yesterday too. I said, that's a nice Twitter thread you put up there, Jeff. If you believe so strongly in what you're saying when you tweet stuff out, why is it such a problem for you to say that on the show?
Yeah,
on the platform that you acknowledged that you have to say this. Why is it such an issue for you to say that? And also, he said, oh, well, this is a place where we come, we're celebrating the industry. I think Keighley said something along those lines. How can we, in good conscience, celebrate the game industry as a whole, knowing things like this are going on and not saying anything about it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There are probably going to be people in attendance at the Game Awards who have had to suffer these kinds of abuses.
Yeah.
And he's just going to not talk anything and just, kind of sweep it right under the rug. I think that's incredibly irresponsible. I definitely think that there's a way that you can say, hey, look, we're all here to have a great time and appreciate the art form that is games. But I have to, we here at the Game Awards have to make things known. We've been, the entire industry has been well aware of reports from different companies. You don't have to name them in particular, even though it would be more ballsy if he did. But multiple large companies, huge companies in our industry have been, reported of claims of abuses of all forms. And we here at the Game Awards just want everyone to know that we support you. We do not tolerate abuses of any kind. And we are doing everything we can to shine a spotlight on this issue and to get everybody the resources that we need or that they need to better their work environment. You know what I mean? Something like that. Or he could have reached out to they probably won't do anything, but he could have reached out to Phil Spencer or, you know what I mean? Or Nintendo, what's his name? Doug Bowser. Or any of those big names and said, hey, this is becoming a real problem and we don't want to see it get any worse than it is. You know what I mean? There's so many different ways he could have said that, but he just chose to rather not say anything. And that is the loudest of everything that he could have said.
Yeah. Yeah. There's literally 1,000 ways that would have been, just as tactful, or more tactful.
And it probably would have taken like 3 minutes.
Yeah. And instead it's like the stance of no stance. And it's like, what? Like, really? I
don't understand what's so controversial about it. It's pretty black and white. Like, there's no gray area here. People weren't like, oh, they're kind of getting abused. They're kind of getting threatened. They're kind of getting touched when they don't want to. No. What do you mean?
Yeah. I don't know. It's so bizarre. And I wonder, like, because even from that, his tweet, his supposed response, there's been, I mean, as we're talking about here, like, there's obviously backlash to that. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see on Thursday night then, like, does he slide something? Like, I wonder if he just kind of shuts up on social media for now. And then, like, will he surprise us on Thursday and say something? Like, what's the over under? Like, what are the chances do you think he actually just slips something in? Like, he actually does do something.
Even if he does something
without
now,
making a big deal of it.
But if he does something now, then people will just say, "Oh, he did it because people were giving him crap for it." You know what I mean? It's not going to come off as genuine as he actually cares. It's just, "Oh, well, I'm trying to save whatever viewership that I might lose if I don't say something."
But I mean, at least he did it. At least he finally
he
did
did
the
it,
thing,
but
right?
I would rather him do
it
because he actually wants to see something.
Right.
Him being such a big beneficiary of all of these people's work, in the sense that he wouldn't have this show to put on if there weren't people in this industry making the games. You would think he would care a little bit more about the people making them, but
there's ways that he can do it that it would be very genuine, that he can make a statement about it, but he would have to say, hey, let's take a moment and talk about some stuff that's been going on, and he would need to talk from the heart, not reading a teleprompter,
right,
not reading an already written out statement that some advisor has written for him. It would really need to be coming from a place where he's got to apologize for his inaction in the beginning, and for his, hey, don't not really do anything approach. Mm-hmm. He would need to come back. I realize that I didn't react the right way. I made a mistake. I shouldn't have taken this so lightly. It has been affecting a lot of people in our industry, and that kind of stuff can't be tolerated anymore. And right. So I think that he would honestly need to be very genuine about it and have to come right out the gate and say that stuff. And that's one of those things where I typically will always try to make a joke out of whatever we're talking about. And I don't want to joke about any of that kind of stuff. I don't think those things are joking matters. I worked at 2 different places where I was harassed continuously. Not sexually. I actually asked for that a few times. Oh, see, I did it. I had to go there. But no, I was harassed by bosses that had real bad anger problems and that would scream and yell and made me feel horrible about the person that I am. And it sucks. I was in a position working for over 20 years at that lumberyard for a guy who we had a weird relationship. I love the guy because I worked for him for a long time and he helped me feed my family. But at the same time, I despised him because I was a happy person who came to work whistling and found joy in my job, and customers liked me. And he would scream and yell at me about how stupid I was and how I was replaceable. I'm a dime a dozen. And, when you get told that stuff, when I went to go work at the pest control company, my self-esteem was in the toilet, and it took somebody going dude, you're really good with people. You're amazing at this. That my self-esteem came up. But I didn't realize that what I was dealing with was I was actually dealing with abuse. I was abused for years because he knew that I felt I can't do anything. If I get fired from this job, I've got nowhere else to go. Who the hell's going to hire me? I'm an idiot. I break everything, and I'm not that bright. And, because I've been told how dumb I was for so many years and everything else, that I believed it. I believed all those lies that he told me, and that wasn't who I was, and it never has been, and it never will be.
Now, JJ, take that experience, put it in the forms of other kinds of abuses that have gone on for as long as you've had to endure some of that stuff, and multiply it by potentially hundreds. Could you, in good conscience, knowing that other people in the lumber industry, we'll keep it there, were suffering those same kinds of abuses and not say anything about it to anybody, to maybe a CEO or anything? You already know how terrible it is firsthand, right? So for us 3 right now, even just hearing the accounts of what's been happening to people in the industry, right? Just as a decent person, the fact that you can hear all these things and go, you know what? Let's not talk about that right now. These are suffering humans and you don't want to talk about it right now. I don't know. What is that like? What do they call that?
It's
that disorder? Sociopath?
A sociopath, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just I'm just laying it down into the bare humanity of it. These are people that you say you appreciate the work of, the sweat, the blood, the tears of, but do you appreciate them as people, as fellow humans? It's just odd to me that you would rather that you can stomach people suffering like that and not want to say anything when you know you could accelerate the situation to be changed. Yeah. That's at the root of all of this. It's not about the Game Awards. It's not about, we don't want to anger people on the board because they're from Activision. It's about, what does this say about Jeff Keighley as a person? And it honestly says a lot to me at this point. People they say, he's worried about his money. Oh, he's worried about that. None of that really matters in situations like this, or it shouldn't anyway. If you're a halfway decent person,
there's always going to.
That's
be
just
money.
me.
There's always going to be money there. Money. Should
There's granted. I understand it always will be money motivated, right? But like, I know for a fact that I couldn't be like there's that old saying that you can't be a billionaire without screwing people over, and in some form or some way. I know for a fact I couldn't be a billionaire because I wouldn't be able to sleep knowing that somebody's life is ruined because of something I did knowingly to screw them over so that I could benefit from their misfortune. Couldn't do it. So I don't know. It just makes me question his character is all as a person.
Yeah. No, 100%. Yeah, it's definitely was, I don't know. Yeah, such an interesting thing to kind of experience this last week because, I don't know, everyone in the industry, for the most part, thinks pretty highly of Jeff Keighley. And then, like, with this happening, it's like, oh, man, like, what's going on? Like, where's this coming from? Like, was it just like, hey, I don't know. I almost want to give him the benefit of the doubt. Like, was it just like a quick tweet or a quick thing he said in the interview, like not fully thinking, like he just kind of like responded, or is that actually like how he feels and thinks about it? Like, I don't know. I would like to give him the benefit of the doubt, but at this point, like until something happens, it's like, well, maybe that's actually how he feels, which is that's sad. That's a bummer.
I mean, because like dog, if it's me, I don't really. You could be funding it from top to bottom as a sponsor. If you're the one. If your company is one of the ones that's doing this stuff, I'm gonna say something, and you can turn the awards off right after that. But it's gonna be documented.
Shut Twitch
before
down.
the stream, right? Before the stream gets cut off, it's gonna be documented on there. Somebody's gonna record it that I said something.
Yeah.
You know what, guys? This is tough stuff to talk about. I'm glad
it is, but it needs to be talked about.
Absolutely. And Adrian, thanks for being raw and for sharing your feelings and thoughts on that stuff. And Garrett, just to piggyback off all of that, all the times that I've harassed you, I meant everything that I've ever done to you, like everything. I take
you
back
thought he was gonna be sincere. You thought, you thought, oh, here comes a tender moment. Oh, look at us healing.
We were being a little too, you know what I mean? I'm just saying, Garrett, I meant to harass you every freaking time, like every time.
Oh man, that was good.
Boom. I got that recorded. Send it off to the FBI right now. Oh my gosh, I hate you. I hate you so much.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of when we have to, get real and not fun about stuff like that. But yeah,
hey, these are
it
people's
needs
lives.
to be talked about. Yeah, these are people's lives that are potentially at stake, as we've seen from reports. So
yeah, 100%. Alrighty. So next here, I'm looking at the clock, and let's move this show along a little bit here. It's time for the ad. We're gonna get into our Patreon ad. Where, what's up?
I don't know. I think something went off in JJ's pocket.
Yeah,
I hope that was your phone.
I was so excited for the ad right now. I'm so free. I'm so sorry.
I just want it to be your phone. I just want it to be your phone. Please, God.
Your phone vibrating. Please let that be the phone vibrating. All right.
Maybe.
Here's the ad. All right, this is the part of the show where I tell you to go over to patreon.com/supergamerboys and support us over there. Starting at just $1 a month, all the way up to $15 a month. We got multiple tiers in there where you can get our episodes early and ad-free. You can get show notes. You can get shout-outs in the show. You can be our boss. Heck, if you get us to that $100 a month goal, you can even fund a brand new show. So go over to patreon.com/supergamerboys. Be awesome. Support us over there, please. Very much appreciate it. Normally, we would talk about supporting us on Twitch right now, but you know what I'm going to say? Go over to sgbstore.com where you can get this bad boy. Look at this. Oh, man, it's so nice and cozy and warm and soft. And get our sweet Super Gamer Boys mug with our mugs on there. Gorgeous logo. Fantastic. And everyone likes toasty toes, you know? So go out and get yourself a pair of these. Oh, you can see the design a little better. See the button design that you see on our podcast?
The detail, the precision.
There's our logo there, and on the back of the calf.
Look at that
cramp.
twitching. That stitching was amazing.
I got a cramp.
You got a little cramp. You got a crampy cramp.
I got a cramp in my other leg. My right leg was in the air. My left leg got a cramp. I don't know what that says about my
You've been sitting around on the soup line for so dang long. You're not stretching out and getting to work, buddy.
Oh, man. So go over to sgbstore.com. Go buy some merch for your loved ones for Christmas. Even if they don't listen to the show, just buy them a pair of socks and see what they say. I think it'd be funny. And post it on Instagram and tag us, because I'd love to see that. Or just buy it, like I said, buy a sweet sweater, because this thing's so cozy. All right. Let's get back to the show. All right, it is time to talk about what you're playing. So, Adrian, give it to me. What have you been playing?
My good man, Garrett, you will be pleased to know that I am on the tail end of Pokemon Pearl. Yes.
Thank you.
I'm
for finally finishing
I'm almost
that
out.
I need you.
I've had a blast with it. As always, just like it was the first time. I know a lot of people say that game is really slow compared to the newer games. It is definitely a slower pace, but that doesn't mean that it's not very well done. Been playing that. I've been playing Super Mario Odyssey, of course, to get ready for a book club.
Heck yeah.
Working on that still. In my eyes, a masterpiece. We'll talk about that though on Wednesday.
Heck yeah.
And I've been playing. I mentioned PSP a little bit earlier. I've been playing I'll say a deep cut. It's called Jeanne d'Arc, and it's think about if they took the story of Joan of Arc and turned it into an anime / Final Fantasy Tactics JRPG.
I can picture the cover of that game, but I never played it. The cover is super cool. It has really cool artwork, right?
Yeah. It's like her after she cut her hair off with armor on, and then kind of just standing there with a sword. But yeah, it's a tactics game along the lines of Final Fantasy Tactics or Tactics Ogre. Has full animated cutscenes. The gameplay is really well done. It's it's majority voiced, and the performances are really good. But that all pales in comparison to the gameplay, which is airtight, like most tactics games on PSP. It's pretty hefty now. Thankfully I got it when it was dirt cheap, when nobody cared about PSP, because now it's worth $80. But yeah, it's up there if you get it with the box and everything. But yeah, I freaking love it, and I hope it. You know what? That could be one of the ones that they put on the PlayStation Plus thing. And if they do and you get it, I'm telling you right now, that's a definite recommended play for me.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
Good to know. Yeah, man, I'm so excited for that PlayStation thing. I hope it's real. I hope it comes sooner than later. For me, I have basically just been playing Super Mario Odyssey, which I don't want to talk too much about because we're going to be talking about the book club. But yeah, I have not had a lot of time to play games. I've been so busy trying to get a job that I haven't just actually took any downtime and relaxed while being jobless. So yeah, that's it. Just Super Mario Odyssey for me. JJ, have you been playing anything exciting lately?
It sounded like you said Soup Mario. I don't know. Maybe we've got it in your head about that soup that you're in line for.
Mario's doing just fine. He'll be okay.
I don't know. I mean, I want to make sure he's employed. Plumbing is like a trade. So I mean, you would think that he'd stay fairly busy. So I actually loved finishing Limbo last week. This week, upon a recommendation on our Discord, Chizo had mentioned, "Hey JJ, have you ever played Inside?" And what? Oh yeah,
I told you about Inside when you were before you started playing Limbo.
I know.
Chizo. Garrett, we're gonna have to talk about Indie Boys because apparently I'm doing it for nothing. No, I'm doing it for nothing.
Adrian, Adrian mentioned it on the show first. But I
spent so long on these Indie Boys.
I understand, but I feel like I had to do that because he mentioned it on the Discord, and I thought, I'm going to give him the credit for it because I did that to you not that long ago, where you talked about the game I'm not allowed to talk about, and then I played one. I played it, and then I talked about how I played it, and you're like, yeah, I was just talking about it last week, and I'm like, you did? And so no, Adrian mentioned it on the show. And then I was talked about in Discord, and so I bought it this week, and I actually finished it this week. And you know what? Playdead is the people who put it out. What a great game! A really fun platformer, and like a lot better than Limbo. Like, I mean, it by leaps and bounds a better game. That game is a phenomenal platformer, and based on that, then I saw that Oxenfree was on sale for 99 cents. And so I picked that up, and that's the next game I'm going to start playing that one tomorrow. So I'll be talking about that game hopefully next week.
Okay. Now wait, look at me, JJ.
Yeah.
Oxenfree is a very good game.
Mm-hmm.
The people that made Oxenfree also made another game after Oxenfree. It's called After Party.
Okay.
So when somebody tells you about After Party...
Adrian told me about After Party first.
Okay.
Adrian told me about
I just want to put this in there so it's on wax. All right.
I love how you put your, like, as if you're holding the sides of his face, just like, JJ, look me in the eyes.
Look at me.
Like what I do with my 4-year-old when he's not listening, like, Shepherd, look at me. Look me. And he's going like this, like trying to do everything he can to, like, not look at me.
Adrian has told me about so many games, like, and then I try them later, and they end up rocking.
I've told you all about so many games.
But I cannot give you the credit typically, but I do give you credit fully for Inside.
You know how many games are in old Indie Boys episodes that I know you would absolutely adore?
Oh, I'm sure. I'm going to have to go back in the archives.
Yeah, you do.
You know what? I should think about putting a supercut together.
Do a big supercut, or we could just start releasing them. Just upload like the smaller versions. That
would be great.
Just,
just releasing them individually like that would be great.
I wonder. We'll talk about it later.
Do you have them still? I hope you have them because.
I think I have all of them as far as I remember.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later and see what we can do with those.
All right.
But cool. Well, thank you guys all so much for listening this week and watching. If you can, please go over to patreon.com/supergamerboys. As I mentioned previously in the show, that support helps us a ton with buying games, buying equipment, whatever we might need. We appreciate all of you who support us over there. And remember, we got that goal. Get us 100 and we'll put out that new show for you guys. sgbstore.com. As I've mentioned multiple times in the show, go buy yourself the coziest sweater ever, some sweet socks, a sweet mug. We got stickers. We got phone cases. We got everything. We got t-shirts. sgbstore.com, and get some cool stuff for your loved ones in your life. You know, for your grandma, for your great aunt, for your nephew. You know, all the people who love sweet Super Gamer Boys merch.
Your grandma, yes, of course.
Go, rate and review us if you can on your favorite podcast services. Give us the thumbs up on YouTube. Subscribe to our channel so you know when videos go live. Follow us here at twitch.tv/thesupergamerboys. During the week, you can find us at supergamerboys.com, at supergamerboys on Twitter and Instagram. I'm on Twitter and Instagram at gmorlang. Adrian where can they find you at?
You can find me any and everywhere at Homeboy.
And JJ, where can they find you at?
Right at the top of the line on the soup chain. That's where I'm at. But you can find me online at JJ Purdom on Twitter and Instagram.
Cool. Well, that's all I got for this week. Thank you guys all so much for joining me. It's been real. It's been fun.
Of course. Been a blast.
Thanks, man.
JJ.
All right, for Garrett Morlang, for Adrian Homeboy Holmes, and for myself, JJ Purdom, we are the Super Gamer Boys.
And we will catch you on the flippity flop.
Thanks, Chizo, for the recommendations of the
Oh, screw you, man. And Keely, do the right thing. Do the right thing. Fix it.